everyone, welcome back to Ormsby Farm. My name is Casey. So, remember when I told you on the last pantry video that even though every bit counts challenge is done, that does not mean that my canning season is done. And that's true because we are getting ready to be processing our turkeys and chickens. And so I gotta clean out some of the freezers. So I have a wonderful chuck roast from some dear friends over at Long Pine Cattle Company. And you can see it in there. I've defrosted it to the bag, but it is so beautiful. So what we're going to do is we're going to can up some quarts of kind of like a beef roast. So it's quick, convenient food going forward in the winter that you can either dump it over some rice or add some more broth to it and kind of have like a roast kind of soup, maybe over some noodles. So many different options, but I learned this way of doing it, or I've got the idea of how I was going to do it from Jessica over at Three Rivers Homestead. So let me go ahead and flip you around and let's get going. We're gonna do it in our electric pressure canner today. So let me zip it up. Let's head into that intro and let's go ahead and can up some chuck roast.
Coming home.
Alrighty, y'all, so before we cut up this chuck roast and put it into the jars, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna first put the seasoning and I'm going to put onions. Now I'm doing my onions frozen. If you don't want to do them frozen, defrost them before you put it in there. I've done it before, it works just fine. Because we're gonna be pressure canning it for 90 minutes because of the meat. So they'll get cooked, there's no worry. I like to put my seasonings at the bottom now after watching Jessica at Three Rivers Homestead, so it doesn't float up to the top and look all crazy. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do about a teaspoon of everything except the black pepper. I'm gonna do about a half teaspoon. But I'm gonna do some thyme. Maybe a heaping tablespoon or a teaspoon, but I will. You know, changing up the seasoning is not gonna affect that it seals right and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I'm doing. Now I wanna do a little bit less. Got that, maybe half one. Okay, and then I'm gonna do garlic powder. Same thing, maybe a little less than a teaspoon. I love garlic, so I'm not really too worried about if it's garlicky. It's definitely not enough. Okay, we got that. And last, I'm gonna do some salt. I use pink Himalayan salt. Kosher salt works fine too. Salt brings out the flavor in most things, so you definitely don't want to leave out salt when you're doing stuff. And now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna grab my 4-jar funnels and I'm gonna get some onions, and we're gonna put some onions in the very bottom and then we'll chunk up the meat. All right, again, I'm using frozen onions. I live in Georgia and we're so humid, it is so hard to keep fresh onions good at all. So I'm doing frozen onions. I'm using my 4-jar funnel. It is so amazing, y'all. I've talked about it on other videos. For headspace, it has the guide. It's very sturdy. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put in some onions, probably about a half a cup. Now, sometimes I have to search for the more not stuck ones together, but it's okay. Here we go. We're going to do probably about that. And again, this is another thing that is going to give it a bunch of flavor. So you don't want to skip out on any of the onions or any of that kind of stuff. Now, if you wanted to, I'm not a huge fan of carrots, but you can add carrots to it. Any way that you would have it. You're still doing the 90 minutes of processing time for the beef. So all of those are good with 90 minutes. So got the onion in there now. Let's push this aside and let's go ahead and chop up the chuck roast. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna backfill with our broth. I'm just gonna tear it in there because of course I'm gonna be super messy. Of course, Casey, because that just makes sense. To inch of headspace. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clean up this mess and we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get the lids on. So we're gonna wipe it down, put a 4-jar lid, so on and so forth. So let me get all this cleaned up in a hot YouTube second and then we'll get back to finishing and canning this up. All right, now what I'm gonna do with a dry, well it's not gonna be dry in a second, a paper towel with a little bit of white vinegar on is I'm gonna go around the edges and I'm gonna wipe, make sure there's no seasoning or salt or any grease from the broth or the meat. And I'm also gonna be checking for any cracks. So I'm gonna do all of that. I'm touching as I'm feeling. But I'm also gonna put some of this, I'm gonna do probably a blop, I know that's the scientific term, in my electric pressure canner. So now with my 4-jar lids, let me get them out here. I'm getting low on my regular mouse. We're gonna go ahead and on that white rim, we're gonna put the 4-jar lids. Make sure that y'all can see it. Y'all know I love, love, love me some 4-jar lids. There's always my discount code and affiliate link in the link tree. So if you go down below and click on the link tree, you can go over and get you some 4-jar lids. I have just been thoroughly impressed with the seal rate with them. And I'm gonna do that. And we're gonna put it in the canner and we're gonna put in 3 quarts of water and then I'll flip you around so you can see the pressure canner. All right, I'm taking it out, y'all. I'm doing the kind of the cheater pumpkin eater way. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put these straight in here and I'm gonna go put some water and I'll meet you back over at the electric pressure canner. Alrighty, y'all, we have the water in there. I don't know if you can see. The water in there plus the glop of the vinegar. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to seal. I'm gonna make sure that I'm venting here. So you wanna make sure you're venting. And then I'm gonna go down and I'm going to press high for 90 minutes. When you're pressure canning meat, it's always 90 minutes. And then I'm gonna press start. So it's gonna do this for a little bit while it comes up to pressure. Then you'll hear a beep and it's gonna say E10. That's the 10-minute when you're venting for the regular stovetop pressure canner. Same way, and once that gets to E0, and I'll show it to you on the video, we're going to loop and flip it and seal it and then let it seal for the 90 minutes. All right, I wasn't able to get the beep, but it beeps and it flashes like this, and what we're going to do is we're going to bloop, seal her up. This will then in a second start circling again, and then momentarily it will pop up, and I'll show you in a video right here of where it says the 90 minutes. So I will see y'all when I'm ready to take this out. Alrighty, y'all, so we're gonna flip it. No more steam, it's been sitting for a minute. Hello, baby. And now you're gonna let it sit for 24 hours. Don't touch it. And you'll start hearing that wonderful pop, pop, pop sound. And then you have shelf-stable beef roast on your counter for the winter. So y'all, thank you so much for tuning into this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave me a thumbs up and go ahead and leave a comment down below. You know, all of the stuff that I use, jars, 4-jar lids, canner, is all down below in my link tree. So if you want some of that, go and check it out. But make sure you're subscribing if you're not already. Hit the bell icon so you know anytime that new videos drop to my channel. Also, follow me on social media at Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and Twitter and all of that good stuff. And I will see y'all on the next video. Bye. Be blessed.
I'm coming home.